what do you make of the opposition to this project, the community outcry against it?
Well, there's a lot of misinformation there. And that's misinformation. That's always a, supporting house that there's a lot of people with addictions and drug addicts and crimes increase around the areas, and will look at the Chinatown, and there's a lot of security issue and also affect the business and so on. So I think that's why people always thought about this, and they don't have fact check about this.
Right. I know that it was referred to by a drug den by opponents of the project as well. And I understand that you do have experience with this community. You work with homeless people. You work with people who are suffering with problems related to addiction. So what's been the most challenging part for you for doing this work?
Well, I think, people's idea, people are concerned valid. At the same time, and we also need supporting housing for the vulnerable. And I think how we're going to make a balance, how we're going to come together with a common ground and talk about how we're going to build an inclusive and safe and considering generous community. I think that's quite challenging because people don't want to sit together to have a dialogue, to work together. I think most of the people, they do want a safe people. I think I need that too. But then at the same time, we also, as Canadian, I think I moved to Canada 30-something years ago. I still proud of being a Canadian. And that's generosity, and we care about others in the communities. And so how are we going to work together? I don't think most of the people, they don't want to care, but it's just how.
Well, you've talked about the messaging and what you describe as misinformation. Last week after the news came out that City Council terminated the project, we did have City Councillor Carol Day with us here in studio, and she said that the city has now hired someone who's going to help get the message out to the Chinese community. Just listen.
It's made it to the point where we can't get the message out. We just this week hired a social media expert who's going to be working with Chinese social media because the misinformation it's not even misinformation, it's disinformation is so over the top that we got to find a way to corral it.
Okay, disinformation over the top. Do you think someone who can work with the Chinese social media, can that be helpful to the city, do you think?
I think that will be helpful, and because we have our own, the Chinese-speaking community, we have our own, cultural concern and so on. And so we also have kinds of, shouldn't say called bias, and I think in our culture, in our country, I think, the homeless and the addicts are criminal, and they give lots of trouble to the community. I think at least in this area, in this community, I think it's quite complex. It's not just about that.